If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.
Hey everyone, I'm Melanie Johnson, along with my co-host Jen Foster today for your Elite Publishing Podcast. Hey Jen.
Hey everyone, how are you today?
So we're talking everything books, publishing, book marketing, book writing. So we have an author. She has written not one, not two, but 4 books. 4 books. Jeanette Nyden is here with us today. She is an expert at contracts, but we want to dive into how did she write all those books and what has she done with them to apply them to her business? Welcome. Thanks, Jeanette, for coming today.
Hi, Melanie. Hi, Jen. Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into writing your first book.
So I'm an attorney and I'm licensed in the state of Washington, and attorneys just write. Right. We write a lot. And I was on Law Journal in law school and wrote a lot when I was practicing. So writing comes really naturally to me, but the way that I wrote was just horrendous when I went into the business world. So when I started writing for business people, I had all the footnotes and everything was copiously documented, which is how I learned how to write in law school. I had to unlearn all that. I mean, my friends are like, you're brilliant, but I can't deal with this. There's like 70 footnotes. So it was a long process to sort of unlearn, because I have a level of expertise and I have a level of professional pride, but I still have my license. So I also have some ethical obligations as an attorney. So I have to be very careful, because if I wind back and I don't document as much, I still need, in my mind's eye, to present accurate information and good advice. And so first I had to sort of find that through writing white papers and things like that. What's the balance? And then my first book was born, Negotiation Rules. And when I got referred to a publisher, they're a sales publisher, this is written for sales teams, the gentleman just fell out of his chair quite literally when he heard. I'm like, no, the book is already written, because he thought I hadn't yet written the book. And so I said, well, do you want to see the manuscript? And he did. And then he said, I will publish this right away. So it was actually a very fast turnaround, because I had already published the book in my mind. I had written it and published it in my mind, and I was just simply looking for the right publisher that wanted to distribute it, and this particular publisher did.
Awesome. Well, tell us, how did you go about writing it? It takes discipline, right? What was your tactic of getting your book written?
Yeah, so that's the one thing that's sort of, I don't understand how to explain discipline, because I think that's just so ingrained in who I am and how I was trained up as an attorney that I just did it. People wanted me to explain concepts like trade-offs and counter offers and negotiating price and things, and I just would write it up. And then suddenly I had 12 chapters when I put them together, and then just tried to piece them together with stories and things like that. So it isn't as if I needed to designate a certain time to do this, or I'm going to write from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. or something like that. Like, I'm always writing, I'm always doing things or dictating if I'm on a walk or something like that, all of these thoughts that are in my head, to try to get them down into paper or onto a video blog.
I love that you just said, I just did it, because I think a lot of authors sometimes they get in that mindset of, oh, I need to have a time block, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. How am I going to get my book done? When they just need to just do it, right? So I like that simple approach to it. Tell us, what kind of software did you use when you dictate? Do you have a specific app you like to use, or
Oh my gosh,
for transcribing?
You know what? So I've been doing this for 20 years, so all kinds of different things. I mean, first voice recorder into a real voice recorder. So I would carry a little voice recorder in my purse. This is back when we had, like rudimentary Blackberries and things like that didn't have all of these. Now I have the voice recorder on my phone. So rather than carrying around a voice recorder where I think of something, I come out of a client meeting and I think, oh, I should really write an article on this and jot those thoughts down through the audio recording. Now I can do that on my phone. And I just use simple within the Microsoft platform, the dictation feature, because sometimes just vomiting it all out, I don't even really care about punctuation and spelling, but I just have to like get all my thoughts out. And then I can go through in a quiet time and actually read it all and start organizing it. I think that and then I think that's key, because I think that a lot of people want to try to write in an organized way, and I don't, even though I think in a very organized way, and my books are like hyper linearly laid out. I just actually just start with vomiting thoughts and then go back and think about how to organize that and reorganize it. And with my third book, with my co-author Kate Vitasic and David Fringlinger, Getting to We, what we presented to Palgrave, actually they didn't like the way it was organized. And it was over Christmas, and I live close enough to the co-author Kate Vitasic that I actually drove over to her house, and we actually sat down and we physically had to sort of pull the papers apart and cut them into pieces, because it was 60,000 words or something like that, and reorganize it the way Palgrave wanted it organized and put it all back. And then once we saw it laid out in that kind of paper form, then we could go in and work with our editor, Bill, who was doing it, and we could say, this is how it needs to flow. And then he tediously went from this chapter and pulled this over here and took this out and removed it in its entirety. But that's after you get all of your wonderful thoughts out. Just get them out. Don't worry about it, because you may have to reorganize it a couple of times based on what you want, what your readers are likely going to want, how the publisher will guide you in that process.
I love that, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I need some special app to download on my phone, but they forget that your phone comes with a audio recording app. Most iPhones and any Samsung phone or Sony phone has an actual recorder already on it. Even Google Pixel has it. So they all have it.
Jeanette, how do you feel like you've used your books for your business?
So 2 ways. One, with clients, the fact that I have all my own intellectual property and snap, I can roll it out, was a really big deal to a lot of clients. That just makes me stand out in a crowd, especially because there aren't that many people who can understand and teach non-lawyers how to negotiate legal contracts and things like that. And so this idea that your book should translate into the work that you're doing, and it doesn't matter whether it's B2B like I am, or it's consumer driven, or even self-help, there's got to be that connection that what I'm writing about is what I'm going to be offering as some sort of a service. The other is obviously public speaking. Everyone loves the fact that I've got 4 books and I've got topics, and then they can have me come and speak at their conference on this topic.
I love that. And so you have 4 books total. Were they all traditionally published?
3. So the first book is Negotiation Rules, and that was published by a sales book publisher. Publishes a lot of books. Then the 2 are published by Palgrave, the Vested Outsourcing Manual and Getting to We, and those are about negotiating. They're all about negotiating contracts, but those were about negotiating very complex outcome-based outsourcing agreements. And then my last book, the Contract Professionals Playbook, is actually self-published because I wanted it to be a training manual. So I actually have that book, and then people can buy the book, and then they come sometimes and take the e-program, or sometimes they register and take my e-program of the same name, and then they get a copy of the book with it. And so that book has been instrumental in sort of bridging the gap between having a book and then also providing training for individuals and teams.
I love how you're using them both together and, doing the combination and different things to promote it. What other ways have you used to market your book?
Webinars. And so really
Mhm.
developing a free webinar funnel, right? I have so much in my head. So even if I try to just do like 3 tips, like that's an hour. So a lot of what I do is provide free webinars, sometimes free lunch and learns that are streamed on LinkedIn and things
Mhm.
like that, where I really just talk about one thing that I can go into some detail about and then remind people, by the way, there's a lot more that goes to this. And so depending on what book I'm promoting, then I can tell people if you want to know more. So for example, for negotiation rules, I might talk about planning. And that book's the book that's got the best planning chapter and tools and things like
Mhm.
that. So then I'll say, well, if you want to know more about negotiating in general and more about planning than I can even do in this webinar, that would be
Mhm.
your go-to resource because people love it. It's tangible. All my books you can buy used now on Amazon. So you can just get a book and look it up yourself if you'd like.
I like that. And I love how you're using your digital training courses with your book and vice versa. So I think that's a great way, especially with self-publishing and print on demand, that you can, oh, they bought my course, I can ship them a book, or
Exactly.
they bought the book, hey, go buy my course, so
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us where we can find you and connect with you, Jeanette.
Yeah, thank you. So my website is www.jnyden.com. That's JNYDEN.com. And I just got some really valuable advice from my web designer that I want to shout out to all of you authors. I had my books buried in my free resources page, and she said, you better make it your own page on your website. So I have my own page that says books. So I want all of you authors that have a book or books to have your own page so people can look really quickly and say, oh my God, you're an author, and go see what that book is.
Add to your tip and say you should also offer your book for bulk purchase there, where
Very
they can
good.
buy 100 or 500 or 1,000 books with discount codes.
There you go.
Love it. Well,
Well,
thanks. We'll put that link up in the show notes.
terrific. Thanks for joining us, Jeanette. And if you're thinking about becoming an author and writing a book for your business or any book, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. We're happy to see if you're a good fit for us. Hit that author submission button. Have a great week, everybody, and happy writing.
Bye.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.